Extend your life with cryonics. A fulfilling life doesn't have to end. When today's medicine gives up, cryonics takes over. It might sound like the plot of one of the many fictional films, and instead is the slogan of the Alcor Life Extension Foundation, an American nonprofit organization based in Scottsdale, in Arizona, in the United States. The name Alcor derives from the name of a star belonging to the constellation of the Bear Major. It is said that it is in the stars that our destiny is preserved, and Alcor is nothing but the vehicle with which to undertake that fascinating journey towards the stars, towards a not-too-distant future. Alcor today is the world leader in cryonics, that is to say that set of practices and technologies that aim to preserve life by interrupting the process of death. All this is made possible by one of the best technology in the world, and thanks to the use of temperatures below zero, with the aim of restoring good health with the medical technology of the future. Alcor thus deals with the freezing of corpses and human brains in liquid nitrogen after legal death. Alcor explains that death is a process and not an on and off switch. Doctors can try to save that person, and often they succeed, but other times not. It is precisely at this moment that cryonics comes to the rescue, capable of pausing that process of death, in the hope of resurrecting them and bringing them back to full health in case new technologies are developed in the future. But how does human cryopreservation work? Let's go and see the various phases. 1 to 7 days before preparation. The ideal procedure and the quality of cryopreservation depends on how long after death the procedure can begin. Typically, a cryonics emergency response team waits near a dying person, up to a week earlier, so it could start almost immediately after cardiac arrest. This is not always possible because cardiac arrest could be sudden, or there could be an investigation by the coroner that would take up valuable time. 0 hours, legal death. As soon as the person is declared legally dead, the cryopreservation process must begin when the cells and organs are still vital, because they are at the beginning of the death process. Procedures should ideally begin within the first 1 to 2 minutes after the heart has stopped, and preferably within 15 minutes. 2 hours, stabilization phase. Blood circulation and respiration are artificially restored to protect the brain, and protective drugs are given intravenously to prevent blood clotting. The patient is cooled and immersed in a portable ice bath, and his blood is replaced with a solution for preserving his organs. If too much time passes from death to the start of the cryopreservation procedure, the circulatory system degrades and loses the ability to circulate the chemicals that reduce freeze damage. 5 to 4 hours. Transport. The patient cooled is carefully transported to the operating room in Alcor, in Arizona. 1 to 24 hours. Perfusion phase. Cryoprotectors are delivered into the bloodstream to reduce and even prevent freezing, which would otherwise cause damage to blood vessels, brain, and other organs. The cryoprotectant is a substance that, once injected, easily penetrates into the cells and lowers the freezing point of water. Some more common cryoprotectants are glycerol and propylene glycol. The state of the brain is visually monitored through 2 small holes in the skull, made with a standard neurosurgical instrument, a 14 mm Codman perforator. An injured brain swells, indicating that the blood-brain barrier has been compromised. 5 to 7 days, deep cooling. The patient is cooled to a constant temperature of -196 degrees centigrade, thanks to immersion in a cryogenic dewar, a huge vacuum-packed metal container filled with liquid nitrogen. It does not require electricity, but must be refilled weekly with the addition of new liquid nitrogen, since every day evaporates from 10 to 15 liters. The cryogenic dewar has a wide mouth, so that patients can be added and removed easily using a special crane, and can hold up to 4 patients. It is made of stainless steel, and its surfaces prevent the entry of heat, as if it were a large thermos bottle. The patient is now protected from deterioration for thousands of years, and the dying process has effectively stopped. If, on the other hand, you do not want to preserve the whole body, a large mass of aged and diseased tissue, you can choose to keep only the brain. We talk about neuroconservation, and it is easier to do, as well as less expensive than the preservation of the whole body. The entire head is preserved, so that you can avoid injury if you try to remove only the brain. Surgical removal is performed by making an incision under the neck at the level of the 6th cervical vertebra at a temperature close to 0 degrees Celsius. The rest of the body is usually cremated or disposed of according to the wishes expressed in life by the deceased. In the future, the cells will be reprogrammed to heal the severed spinal cord, regrow lost limbs, and even regenerate new organs. Approximately 90% of members finance their cryopreservations with a life insurance policy, naming Alcor as the beneficiary. The actual cost depends on age, health, and other factors at the time of purchasing the policy. Whole-body cryopreservation requires a minimum of $200,000 in life insurance, while neuroconservation requires a minimum of $80,000. Members can sign a certificate in which they reject the autopsy because the cutting of the organs of the body, especially the brain, during the autopsy, then makes it difficult to preserve the body. Won't memories be lost if brain electrical activity stops? Short-term memory depends on electrical activity. Long-term memory, on the other hand, is based on lasting molecular and structural changes within the brain. We know that secondary memory does not depend on the continued activity of the nervous system, as the brain can be totally inactivated by cooling, general anesthesia, ischemia, or any method, and despite this, the secondary memories that were previously stored are still preserved when the brain becomes active again. No cryonics organization can currently resuscitate a cryopreserved patient, but Alcor is confident that awakening may be possible in the not-too-distant future, thanks to the development of new technologies capable of reversing the damage caused by the cryonics process. Except for embryos, no human being has ever been resurrected from sub-zero temperatures. Alcor clarifies that it is not possible to legally cryopreserve a patient before dying because it would be a crime, regardless of that person's will. To date, Alcor has 1,384 members and 193 patients whose corpses have undergone cryonics. Among the stored corpses are those of baseball legend Ted Williams and his son John Henry Williams. The oldest preserved body is that of a 101-year-old woman, while the smallest is that of a 2-year-old girl.